and today Kika's cooking again. We are making chicken pot pie, and it's a nice, simple enough recipe. I'm doing shortcuts with using pre-made pie crust. And step number one is we're going to preheat the oven. The oven needs to be set to 425 degrees. We want it nice and hot so that we get our crust going and the filling will get nice and bubbly. So today we're making a recipe that I pretty much made. I mixed a couple different recipes, which I always like to do. And the first step we're going to do is we're going to make the filling. Inside the filling, we are going to have 1 pound of cubed chicken. Put that in the pot. Alright, we have 1 cup cut up carrots. We have a ½ cup sliced thinly celery. And we've got 1 cup of peas. I got them out of the freezer department. And I'll let them thaw a little bit. Alright, and let's see. After that, we have salt, pepper, a little bit of salt. Alright. Just, a good little pinch of pepper. We have a little bit of onion powder, because I like to season every layer. That was about a 1/4 teaspoon. Or more like an 1/8 of a teaspoon, to be honest with you. And then we've got onion powder. About an 1/8 of a teaspoon again. Alright, now we are going to take this and we're going to make a broth, basically. We're going to fill this just to cover the filling. I mean, just to cover all the stuff, and then we're going to set it to boil. We're going to cook it for about 15 minutes. Now I went ahead and I filled the water, as I said, right above everything in the pot. And we're going to start it up. And stir it. And as I said, we're going to bring it to a boil. It's on high right now. We're going to watch it. Once it starts boiling, we're going to take it down to about medium-high and then let it boil. So, once it starts boiling, you cook it for 15 minutes. After that, we're going to drain. So, let it go. Stir it every once in a while, of course, to keep stuff from sticking to the bottom. 3 seconds to go. Alright. Now if you look at this pot, you can see the chicken is white, which means it's cooked pretty much all the way through. The carrots have softened, but they're not soft, because my ideal is that it'll have a little bit of bite throughout the rest of it, and the celery is starting to turn translucent. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our hot mince, and we are going to strain the filling. Well, left the stove on. We're going to strain this out. Alright, strain the filling, and then we're going to place it off to the side. Look at that. Smells very good. We're going to put that off to the side. Now next, we're going to use the same pot, because I'm minimal dishes. I don't like dishes. And we are going to take 3 tablespoons of butter. Right? 3 tablespoons of butter. Let me check my recipe real fast. Actually, it's a 1/3 cup of butter. Now, if y'all didn't know, 1 stick of butter is a ½ cup. So, what we're going to do is we're going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tablespoons of butter. Or if you get the bucket, of course, just measure out 1/3 of a cup. I'm going to add that into my pan. I'm going to let that start to melt. And we're going to add our onions, and we're going to cook our onions until they are translucent. Nice and soft. Thank you. We're doing this on a little more than a medium flame. And one thing that helps whenever you're sweating out your onions is a little bit of salt. Pulls out the moisture, so I'm going to grind just a little bit of salt into the pan. And we're going to do this, as I said, till it's nice and soft and smells really, really good. Hi everybody. While the onions are cooking down, and it smells so good, the butter and the onions, yummy, I'm going to measure out the seasonings that go in right afterwards. So we're going to start off, and we're going to need 1/3 of a cup of flour, because we're making a roux with the butter and the flour, which is the thickening agent to our pot pie filling. Alright, we need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to eyeball that. No, you know what? I have my... Silly me. We were out of salt for a little while, so all we had was the grinder. But 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay. 1/2 teaspoon of celery seed. I had to get a new one, obviously. And celery seed smells, I don't know, kind of earthy, kind of... smells pretty good. Adds a nice level of flavor to it. We're going to do 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. I'm going to add all this a bit. Do some of it into the thingy and some of it into the actual bowl. So I really don't have... I generally measure in my hand, but I'm trying to show y'all me measuring. A great partnering with chicken is rosemary and sage. By the way, sorry about the beeping, that's my dishwasher. It makes a lot of noise, so I paused it. So we're going to pull out a couple of sprigs of the rosemary. And what you're going to do is you're going to go against the grain to pull off just the actual leaves. You don't want the stems. And we're going to chop that up nice and fine with the sage. Right. It smells so florally in here from the rosemary. It smells like pine trees, and it smells really, really good. I love the smell of fresh rosemary. So we're going to get that nice pile. It's going to equal about 1/2 to 1/4 teaspoon. And we're going to chop it up. So we have a nice, uniform, basically sprinkle size. And I'm going to do, I'm thinking 2 leaves of sage. Also, another pairing is nice is fresh thyme. Didn't have any fresh thyme at the store, so I ended up not picking any up, is all. So I'm going to go 2 leaves of sage. Oh, and a very smart way to do sage is you take it and you roll it. I forget what this technique is called, but I'm going to show it to you anyways. And then you take it and you slice it very thin strips. It's a very easy way to do big leafed herbs. So the little roly-polios. And I'm going to just go over it just a little bit because they're kind of long. But that is a much faster way. So look at that. That's about 1/2 teaspoon. Then we're going to measure out 2 teaspoons of garlic and my onions are nice and see-through, and we'll come back to see me mixing the herbs and the flour to make my roux. Alright, so we're at the point where my onions are translucent. See that? The butter, nice and melted, and it smells, as I said earlier, so freaking good. So we have rosemary, sage, flour, garlic, which was what I measured off on the side, and the celery seed. We're going to pour this in with the onion, and this is us making our roux. Now you just work the flour into the butter, and it gets to this pasty consistency, and you're going to cook it. Gosh, the fresh herbs smell so good. We're going to cook it for about 2 minutes until it's got almost like a savory cookie smell, or a savory pie crust smell, and that's going to tell you whenever the flour is nice and warmed up and worked into the butter.